Winning mindset is really about understanding who you are, what you bring to the table, and also being mindful of your blind spots and the things that you may not have thought about as you entered your career, but you really should be thinking about. And that's what we're going to get into.
Welcome to Women Leaders on the Move, a Hearst C-Suite radio podcast. This is Natalie Benamou. I am your host and also the founder of Hearst C-Suite, where we are women leaders on the move that meet, engage, and thrive in meaningful ways. And I had an incredible opportunity to meet today's guest through the connections I made in her C-suite with Jen Pastikas and Hope Mueller, who launched Brave Women at Work anthologies. And together we are about to release a new book on women leaders. And I can't wait for you to hear my guest today. Dr. Ronicka Briscoe is a dynamic leader, an interdisciplinary scholar revered for her unwavering commitment to education and community transformation. With a career that spans nearly 2 decades, Dr. Briscoe's tireless dedication, expertise, and genuine passion have earned her a well-deserved reputation as a change maker. Beyond her remarkable career in education, Dr. Briscoe is equally passionate about community transformation. Her commitment to change is exemplified through her extensive involvement in nonprofit board service. Among many honors, Dr. Briscoe was recognized as a 2023 Xavier University of Louisiana 40 Under 40, 2022 City Businesswomen of the Year, 2023 Teach for America Community Leader of the Year, and University of Holy Cross Community Service Award recipient in 2022. I know you are going to get a lot out of this episode learning about what it takes to have a mindset for leadership as well as finding balance. So with that, let's get started with Dr. Briscoe now. Ronicka, I'm so excited to welcome you to Women Leaders on the Move today. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I have had such a great time getting to know you because we're working on a project together. But for all of our listeners who don't know about you and the amazing arc of your career and the things that you've been doing, I'd love for you to bring us up to speed and up to date on all the things about you.
Okay, so all of the things about Ronicka, I've spent the last nearly 2 decades in education as a teacher, as an assistant principal, curriculum coordinator in K-12 education, before moving into consulting, where I had the opportunity to travel across the country working with schools and school districts, primarily superintendents and school leaders, coaching and supporting them on making their schools better. And then my path led me to higher education. So I've had the opportunity to work K-12 through higher ed. And currently, my work is really focused on women and women leaders. I had the opportunity to work on a PhD, and I really focused my studies on African-American women in leadership, executive leadership. I wanted to focus on what could they contribute to their success, and how could that be a blueprint for other African-American women who desired and aspired to be leaders. And so that took me on a whole new road in life. And I've also started a consulting business called Winning on the Road to support women leaders to do all of the things.
It's so incredible to see the arc of what you've been accomplishing and inspiring. And I know that you also work with youth. You work with young rising leaders as well. Can you describe a little bit about that? And because it's so impactful what you're doing.
Yeah, so at Legacy Foundation for Girls, our focus really starts on girls in 5th grade through high school, college, and beyond. And it starts with the retreat, where all of the girls really get to know each other. They're from across the city of New Orleans. We do service learning. We have guest speakers come in. It's really about empowerment, self-awareness, setting their career trajectory. We sell college to kids a lot, but sometimes they really desire to be cosmetologists, which some of the girls in the program have desired to do. They desire to be real estate agents, business owners, entrepreneurs. One of them makes skin scrubs and things like that. So it's really about them identifying for themselves what it is that they want to do. We could connect them with mentors and opportunities so that they can create the life that they want.
And it's so important. And I think fifth grade is that time. It is such a hard age, right? And that's incredible.
It's a hard age. It was my favorite age to teach. And it was because I really noticed at fifth grade is when they began to either blossom or falter, right? So it's our responsibility by fifth grade to build their confidence, to ensure that they know who they are, that they know that they can accomplish anything. Because once they get into middle school and peer pressure sets in and opportunities to do things that are not positive begin to become more readily available. But at fifth grade, if we can catch them, mold them, and support them, then they have a better opportunity to live out their goals and their dreams moving forward.
And when you move into the women leaders that you're helping, have you seen any trends from the younger ones? Like, how are they doing in comparison to the younger ones? What are some of the similarities and not similarities?
So we have our first group of girls who are actually like in their first year of college. So we don't have trend data. We're fairly new, 7 years the program has been around. So we'll have that data pretty soon. But I've had the opportunity to work at Loyola University on their Young Women's Leadership Program, as well as their more career women's leaders program. And I think it's true across the board. Once you start in middle school, high school, college, and beyond, I think all of the rules still apply. And one of the main things is really understanding who you are, right? We talk about in business, where your value proposition. But we are born with innate talents, abilities, strengths. And if we live our lives to really develop those rather than focusing on the things we can't do and our weaknesses, then we live a more fulfilled life. And we are more able to really reach our zone of genius, as they talk about in the big leap, right? So I think for me, as I've had the opportunity to work with kids as young as pre-kindergarten through doctoral level college students, the one thing that I've identified is when you are able to really communicate the things that you do well, what you bring to the table, the value that you carry, then you're able to be more successful, more courageous, earn more money because you can negotiate your value. Like all of those things then fall into place.
And in this process of working all the grades, now you're focused, and I'm so excited for what you're about to embark on. Share what that's like. And what was that for you, moving out of what you've been doing and now going into something really exciting?
Yes, I fell into education, and I say that lovingly because although it really necessarily wasn't my career trajectory, I actually majored in political science, minored in environmental studies, really had the desire to be an attorney. And Hurricane Katrina happened my senior year in college. And so I really started to think about my life experience, the opportunities that I had as a first generation college student, the experiences that I had in public schools, in urban neighborhoods in New Orleans and across the country. And I really settled on and landed on the best way for me to have an impact was through education. Get there, and it's like a natural thing. Loved kids, loved teaching, came very natural to me, building relationships. And as I've gone through my career at different levels, doing different jobs in different capacities, I think at the end of the day, I want to see more women leading across sectors, education, business, healthcare, public sector, running for office. And as I've developed all of these skills and really honed my skills, I want to be able to support women in doing that in their own careers and moving forward. And many who might be like me, first generation college graduate, did not have come to the table with the network, have been able to build a network of women leaders and individuals who supported me in my career. I have mentors, I have sponsors. I participate in a lot of different development programs. So really helping the next generation of leaders be successful and succeed in what it is that they want to accomplish in their lives.
When you mentioned Hurricane Katrina, I was in trade shows, and we had a lot of shows scheduled in New Orleans, obviously, during that time. Well, not obviously, but during that time. And I remember coming long after, like a year after, and I was still so overwhelmed by all the things that was not yet fixed in the city. So I know that's your home, and I'm glad that things are better now, but it was really a lot to go through.
Yeah, I think things are definitely have improved, especially on the tourism front. However, you can go to some neighborhoods in some areas where it looks like the hurricane just happened, right? So it's been nearly 2024, nearly 20 years. In 2025 will make 20 years, right? So when we think about leadership, that has a big impact on how well cities recover, how well school districts recover, how well the business community recover, how well the tourist industry recover, what opportunities are available for young people when they matriculate, right? So leadership is relevant in all of the things.
It so is. In the work that you're doing now, and also now you're an author, we're authors together. What have you found about leadership that made you want to write that chapter? What was it about that made you want to write in the book?
So Brave Women at Work has been such a labor of love. Writing a book is one of the things that have been on my bucket list since I was a little girl, actually. So having the opportunity to really bring it to fruition with a wonderful group of 9 or 10 other authors has been such an extraordinary experience, and getting positive feedback on my writing, it just really took my confidence to a new level and a new work stream for me. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited to share what I've learned in my doctoral journey. So I mentioned earlier, I had the opportunity to interview African-American women at the C-suite across the country who were in the highest level of leaderships in their organizations, large organizations. Currently, less than 5% of C-suite leadership positions are held by African-American women. So I went out to find these women and really understand their stories from them in their own words, and understand not just the challenges, but the success. And I think that's what made my research different, because although I wanted to understand the challenges, I really wanted to understand what it took to really succeed. And so that's what I talk about in my chapter. I talk about 7 things that were very common throughout all of the interviews and throughout the women that I talked to. And I give just a glimpse into that work and that research. And I also give some personal tidbits in terms of my own life, because in all of the interviews, I saw reflections of myself. I saw decisions that were hard decisions to make. I saw, having to choose sometimes between your family and between your career, wanting it all. We all want it all. We want the marriage. We want the life. We want the kids. We want the house. We want the picket fence, but we also want the career and the opportunity to lead at and be ambitious and lead at high levels. So talk a lot about that, but it's really a chapter that is actionable. You can get out your pen and paper and really think about and reflect on a lot of the stories and tidbits that are shared in that specific chapter.
What was one of the things that might have been surprising in interviewing those women that you weren't expecting?
Yeah, so one of the surprising pieces was really around family. Many of the women only had one child or no children at all. So I have made it my business when I have speaking opportunities, or if I am facilitating professional development, or if I'm in coaching sessions, really elevating the need to think about, when you think about your career plan, your life plan, that family planning is in there as well. So we don't have conversations with our gynecologists about egg retrieval, right? And understanding if we are even able to conceive and have children, if that's something that we desire. So starting very early in your late 20s, just really having those conversations about freezing your eggs if it's something that you want to wait for until you're married. Or if you want to go at it alone, like what are your options? Because we have options now, even if you want to have a family, have kids, and you're not in a relationship that will, in which that's possible, right? So I think that's one of the key pieces. I remember a story of one of my participants where she talked about just her beautiful career that she had. And she had a child when she was very young. but she had the opportunity to meet a great man. They got married, they fell in love, all of the things. And then she started moving up in her career, and he actually took on the caregiving responsibilities of her child. And then they had a closer relationship. The husband and the daughter had a closer relationship than the woman. And she said they had inside jokes. They did a lot of activities together. And she just felt like she was missing out and felt she had chosen her career over her family. And it made her cry. Like was very emotional. So that's one of the things I start talking about even at the college level when I talk to young women, early professionals. Think about the family planning and what it is that you want. And if you don't want kids, that's totally fine. But if it is something that you desire even a little bit, thinking about what you can do now to make that happen.
There's so many things that women struggle with, that balance with family and career and sense of loss one way or the other on the balance beam, right? Like you look to the right or you look to the left and you always feel like there's a pull in one direction or another. So I'm sure that story is going to resonate with our listeners to know, first of all, that they're not alone in that, but also it's one of those things that is really tricky for women to make decisions on. What was something that was a common thread that you heard when they talked about maybe a success in getting to that C-suite level that seemed like a similar piece along the journey?
So I think definitely having a diverse group of trainers, right? And I use sports vernacular in my chapter, hence winning on the road, right? So I explain that winning on the road is really a metaphor for the experiences, not only that African-American women have, but women generally, right? So when we enter organizations, sometimes we're a first round draft pick. They came looking for us. Many of the women in the study, they were recruited. Headhunters were coming after them, right? They were very well known for a specific expertise that they were bringing to an organization. But then when they get there, they're treated like a walk-on, right? So all of the glitz and glamour to recruit you there is now gone. And when you win on the road, the victory is even sweeter because you have less people cheering for you. When you're on the road, you can't bring all of your fans with you. You get the messed up locker rooms. Sometimes people boo when you come out on the field. So the environment is one that is not inviting, but when you're able to be victorious, when you're able to win in those type of environment, the victory is even sweeter. So I use that metaphor throughout. And then I talk about women really needing a strong network. What that looks like for every individual is different. And we like to think that we're self-made in whatever that we do. However, even like the Brave Women at Work network, right? The Her C-Suite network, when we are able to connect with women who are from different backgrounds, have different experiences, bring different expertise, we are better because of that. So they really talked about the people who were surrounding them, who were supporting them, who were motivating them, whether it was a mentor, someone that they can just thought partner with, can give them advice, or true sponsorship, right? I really want to do this thing. Let me help you, finding individuals who can help them get there, put their name on the line and their reputation on the line to get them to where they wanted to go. So having a real diverse group of trainers, different backgrounds, different expertise, and really supporting them through their careers was one of the commonalities and common threads.
Surrounding ourselves with the 5 people really is important. There's nothing more true than that. And especially the further you go in your career, it's more isolating. And it's also, it makes me sad to hear, but it is real when you get that recruiting and you go into that big role and then you're like standing there at the edge of the mountain and you're like, wait a second, everyone was super excited and where did they all go? And it's like, wait, I'm up here by myself now? Like what?
You're up there by yourself. You're being really critiqued, which again is an analogy to like the booing, right? That team that's from when you're that visiting team, you're hearing all of the chatter, you're getting evaluated harsher. All of those things are happening, and you really need a strong network, a strong community surrounding you to help you navigate that and get through it and be successful in it.
Was there anything that they found that helped them in those hard moments? Because it is really hard whether you're in a board meeting and someone steals your idea or they just talk over you, that happens a lot. So what were some of the things that they found that worked in those situations?
So there were two things that I'm recalling that was a commonality. One, all of the participants talked about knowing who you are, right? So I say a lot in a lot of my presentations, if you don't know who you are, when you go into an organization, they'll make you who they want you to be. So at the core of them, they understood their values. They understood what they stood for. They understood what their philosophy was. They knew where the cutoff point happened to be. So I would be willing to go this far, but I'm not willing to do X, Y, and Z. So really knowing who they are, what they bring to the table, what they value, and when those values were being challenged, that was the difficulty for them, right? And sometimes having to make decisions that maybe wasn't the place for them. But being able to know who they are at the core of who they are and how they filter and make decisions was really a common thread. The second thing was that I really wasn't expecting was most women talked about prayer and their relationship with God. And only one of my participants talked about really having a therapist. And I'm like, once you get to a certain level, I thought everybody had a therapist, right? So I became really concerned about mental health. I talked about the women's health earlier with the freezing of the eggs and all of that, but then also the mental health side of this, because I believe in God, I believe in prayer, I believe in all of the things, but I also believe in therapy, right? So when you're experiencing all of the challenges of the day-to-day and the life, and you're grappling with all of these things, like you need professionals, in my opinion, you need to seek some professional support to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. We've seen in the higher ed world recently, lots of women, particularly Black women, who've committed suicide, who died of heart attacks. There was one woman, I think it was at Temple University, they were having a award ceremony and she was going to be the speaker. She passed out. They took her off in the ambulance. They continued on with the award ceremony. She died.
Oh my gosh.
So those are the sorts of experiences I think that we are having. And again, I believe in prayer. I believe in all of the things, but it really hurt me that only one woman was seeking therapy and support. The last point I'll make is that many of these women were also cooking their own meals, cooking their meals for their families, washing their own laundry, cleaning their own homes. And I'm like, man, you have all of these things at play in your profession. Many of them were also navigating being parents and parenting their aging family members as well, whether it was a mom, a dad, a great aunt. So they're also in this in-between generation. So I really, when I'm coaching and mentoring and supporting women, please hire a cleaning service. Please hire a laundry service. Please consider whether it's meal prep or some other ways to like take that load off as well, because that leads to the stress in your marriage, in your life.
Wow. I'm just so sad to hear that story, but so agree with you that women, when they shoulder the world, do you think that because of where they were in their position, they felt they couldn't, was it a vulnerability or a fear of showing that they needed help, so they didn't seek it? Do you feel like that is part of it?
So I think that's like the second layer of research that I really want to do. As I've really tried to unpack this and went back to the research and stuff, I think particularly in the African-American community, it's taboo to seek mental health because then there's something wrong with you. And a lot of us rely on support from our mothers or the matriarchs in our family. And that's not something that was common in the previous generation of women who raised us, right? So I think there are several layers. I can't speak or pinpoint to a specific thing at this time, but it's on my list of things that I'm really passionate about, and it's doing some additional research on.
Ronicka, I could talk to you all day, and I so enjoy this conversation. And my mind is like going, we're going to have more conversations in her C-suite and together and coffee, because I'm fascinated by all the research you're doing. If people want to know more about you, and our chapter's coming out and we're going to be announcing it in April, but more about you specifically, where should they go to find you?
So I am a LinkedIn fanatic. That is my chosen social media. So you can find me at Ronicka Briscoe on LinkedIn. My website is drronickabriscoe.com. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at Winning on the Road. So I'm all over the place. I hope that you all look me up. I would love to connect and just learn more about what your needs are. And especially if you're in need of a network and a support around leadership and you desire or aspire to be a leader at the highest level, I'd love the opportunity to chat with you. So definitely connect with me on LinkedIn or in some other way, and we can get it going.
I'm so glad to have you here today. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I appreciate it so much. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for spending your time with us today. I hope that you stay tuned and keep an eye out for when our book, Brave Women at Work, Lessons in Leadership, comes out in April. We would love it if you help us make it to the bestseller list. So you stay tuned for that. We will be sharing that out on LinkedIn and all the places that you follow us. Thank you also to Jen and to Hope for the introduction to Ronicka. I had so much fun meeting her and love having her in our Her C-Suite community, where we have not only our mastermind programs and turnkey speaker women's events, but we also have network hubs for entrepreneurs. And that's where I met Ronicka, in our Brave Women at Work circle. So I hope that you'll check out all the things on hercsuite.com. And as always, keep shining your light bright. The world needs you.